last part on naming. We're going to talk about amines now. So our amines are going to come from, ammonia, NH3. And we get an amine by replacing either one of those hydrogens, two of them, or all of them with alkyl groups. For example, if we replace one of the hydrogens on ammonia, we put this ethyl alkyl group. There's one alkyl group there. Okay? So that means that this nitrogen, we call it a primary amine. We do this differently than we did for alcohols or alkyl halides, or talking about tertiary carbons, things like that. If the nitrogen is attached to one alkyl group, it's a primary amine. If it's attached to two, like it is here, the ethyl group, the methyl group, it's a secondary amine. And if it's attached to three, like this amine, 1, 2, and 3, we call it a tertiary amine. Okay, now let's look at the common naming of amines. This one's probably the easiest because all we're going to do is combine everything into one word, alphabetically. For example, if we look at this amine here, you can see that it's a secondary amine. It's attached to this methyl group and this ethyl group. So if we put it all together in one word alphabetically, it'd be ethyl methyl amine. Okay. This one up here, we've got this ethyl group here, another ethyl group here, and a third ethyl group here. So it's a tertiary amine. We simply name it triethyl amine. The last example on the bottom, this one looks difficult, but it's really not bad. This nitrogen, or this amine, has got one alkyl group here, one here, and one here. The numbers I put for alphabetical. Okay, this is a cyclohexyl substituent. This is ethyl. Expand this out, you'll see it's isopropyl. So it'd be named cyclohexyl ethyl isopropyl amine. Okay, let's talk about IUPAC naming of amines now. It's going to be very, very similar to alcohols. Okay, so the amine we're going to treat as a functional group instead of a substituent, just like we did alcohols. We're going to replace the E of the parent chain, okay, with the suffix amine this time. And then we're going to indicate the position of the amine with a number, just like the alcohols. The amine gets the priority, just like alcohols, when we number on our parent chain. Now here's the big difference. If we have a substituent, because remember we can have a primary, secondary, or tertiary amine. So if we have a substituent that is attached to nitrogen, that's not the parent chain, okay, it's a substituent, we indicate that it's attached to nitrogen by placing the N with a dash in front of it. Let's look at some examples now for IUPAC naming of amines. I've got a primary amine here, a secondary amine, and a tertiary amine at the bottom. Let's name the primary amine first. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbons in our parent chain, but we must start our numbering over here by the amine. So it's either pentan 1 amine, or just like we did with alcohols, we can put the 1 in front of the parent chain and say 1 pentanamine. The secondary amine here, we've got to determine which one of these is our parent chain, and it's this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because it's got 5 carbons, this one's only 3. So what we're going to do now is we have at the 4 carbon a methyl substituent, at the N position, N, a propyl group. Okay, so we got to name it. Does not matter if it's got a number, if it's got an N, you use alphabetical order to place the substituents. So methyl comes before propyl. So 4-methyl, N indicating that this propyl group is attached to the nitrogen, N-propyl pentan 1-amine, or 4-methyl N-propyl 1-pentanamine. Finally, this tertiary example, I start my numbering here because my amine gets priority over the bromine. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 4 bromo, and then at the N position, I've got 2 methyls. So it's got to be an N-methyl here and an N-methyl here. So it's 4-bromo, N-N dimethyl, because there's 2, pentane 2-amine, or 4-bromo, N-N dimethyl 2-pentanamine.